The worst part about being hurt is that no one else can see your pain. Unknown. Have you ever felt broken by someone who acted like they didn't care at all? Someone who hurt you and walked away like nothing happened? If yes, you're not alone. Behind their cold smile and silent treatment, have you ever wondered what they feel when the doors are closed and no one's watching? Do they feel sorry? Do they regret it? Or do they just move on like it was nothing? Today we're going deep into what a narcissist really feels in private after they've hurt you. This is not just another story. It's a mirror of emotions, secrets, and truths that most people are afraid to face. You'll hear the signs, the hidden emotions, and the reasons why they act like they do. And trust me, it's not what you expect. Stay with me till the end because this journey might just give you the answers you've been looking for. The kind that helps you heal, grow, and protect your heart better. And hey, if you've ever been through this, or you know someone who has, you're not alone. We've built a space where stories like yours matter. So don't forget to show some love by joining our community, sharing your thoughts, and letting others know they're not alone either. Hit that like, drop a comment, and most importantly, stay till the end, because the truth we uncover today might just change the way you see it all. Ready? Let's go! Starting with a powerful question is one of the best ways to grab someone's attention. When we hear a question that touches our feelings or thoughts, we stop and think. It makes our heart pause for a moment. That's why many great stories, videos, or talks begin this way. A strong question can pull people into the story even before they know what it's about. It's like a key that opens the door to deeper feelings. This kind of question isn't just about getting answers. It's about making the listener feel. It's not like asking, "What did you eat today?" It's more like, "Have you ever felt alone in a crowded room?" That kind of question hits something inside us. We start thinking, "Yes, I felt that." And suddenly we want to know more. We want to hear what comes next. That's the power of an emotional question. It connects us to the message in a personal way. Here's where the hook happens. Once someone feels that connection, they're not just listening. They're feeling every word. They become a part of the story. The question makes them remember something in their own life. Maybe a moment when they were hurt. Maybe a moment when they felt seen. And when they feel that, they keep watching or reading because they want healing, they want understanding, or they want to know they're not alone. So when we use a powerful question at the start, we're not just starting a topic. We're opening a heart. We are showing the audience that this story is about them too. That's why it works. Because people don't just want information, they want meaning. They want something that speaks to what they've been through. And one honest, deep question can do that better than 1,000 facts. That's the magic. 1 in 20 people may have narcissistic traits. What happens when you love one? That number may not seem big, but think about it. Out of every group of 20 people, one of them might be someone who can smile at you while breaking your heart. Narcissists can be charming, funny, and kind at first. They can make you feel like you're the most important person in the world, but once they have control, everything changes. They lie, blame you, twist your words, and act like your pain doesn't matter. And the worst part? When they hurt you, they often feel nothing, or at least they pretend they don't. But what do narcissists really feel after they hurt someone? Do they secretly feel bad? Do they miss you? Or is it all just a game to them? Today we're going to open the door to that secret world, what goes on in their mind when they're alone, after the damage is done. You might be shocked. You might feel understood. You might even begin to heal. So stay with us till the end, because this is not just about knowing what they feel, it's about understanding how to protect your heart from being hurt again. And if you've ever been through something like this, or know someone who has, you're not alone. Join our community, drop a comment, and share your story or support others. We're building a safe space for people who feel lost, confused, or broken, and helping each other heal, one truth at a time. Show some love by liking, subscribing, and staying till the end. This might be the story that gives you the answers you've been needing all along. Let's get into it. I didn't realize I was being manipulated until it nearly broke me. I thought I was in love. I thought I was lucky. He said all the right things. He made me feel special, like I was the only person in the world who truly mattered. But slowly, everything started to change. The compliments turned into criticism. The long talks turned into silence. The love I felt started to feel like fear. I kept asking myself, what did I do wrong? I tried harder. I apologized when I didn't need to. I gave more than I had. And still, it was never enough. One day I looked in the mirror and didn't even recognize myself. I was tired, empty. Number. And he acted like nothing happened, like I was overreacting, like I was the problem. That's when I started asking the question that haunted me for weeks. What does a narcissist feel after they hurt someone like me? Do they feel guilty? Do they cry in private when no one's looking? Or do they just move on to the next person like I never even existed? I needed answers, not just for closure, but to understand what really happened to me. I wanted to know if the pain they caused ever touches them the way it touched me. I dug deep. I read. I listened. I cried. And what I found shocked me. The truth isn't simple, but it's powerful. And if you've ever loved someone who made you feel small, confused, or broken, this might help you see things clearly. You deserve to know that you're not crazy. You're not too emotional. You're not weak. You were caught in something you didn't see coming, and now you're waking up. Stay with me till the end of this story, because together we're going to uncover what really goes on in the mind of a narcissist after the damage is done. You might be surprised, you might feel seen, and you just might begin to heal. If this story sounds like yours, join our community, leave a comment, share your experience, or just read along and feel a little less alone. Show some love by liking and subscribing, because this is a space for real people with real pain and real strength. You're not alone anymore. Let's walk through this together. Ready? Let's begin. The moment I said no, everything changed. His face didn't show anger, but his eyes did. Cold, sharp, like I had broken some secret rule. I had always said yes before. Yes to his moods, yes to his lies, yes to losing little pieces of myself just to keep the peace. But that night, something inside me snapped. I didn't yell, I didn't cry, I just said one word, no. And that was enough to flip everything upside down. He stormed out like I had betrayed him. Hours passed, silence. Then the messages started. First guilt, then blame, then silence again. And I kept wondering, did he feel bad? Did it bother him at all? Or was he just angry that he lost control? That's the thing about narcissists. They don't react like normal people. You think they'll miss you. You think they'll come back with an apology. But what they really feel after they hurt you is not what you think. Do they feel guilt? Shame? Do they regret what they did? Or do they feel nothing at all? What happens when the mask comes off and they're alone with themselves? That's what we're going to uncover today. You'll see what truly goes on inside the mind of a narcissist when the damage is done, when the silence settles in, and when the person they once controlled finally starts waking up. This isn't just about answers, it's about your healing. So if you've ever felt confused, heartbroken, or lost after being hurt by someone like this, stay with me till the end. Join our community, show some love in the comments, and let someone else out there know they're not alone. Like, share, and subscribe. Because today, we reveal the truth they never wanted you to see. Let's begin. What would you do if the same person who broke you came back, this time needing your help? The one who made you cry in silence, who blamed you for their mistakes, who acted like your pain didn't matter? Now they're the one in pain. They say they've changed. They say they're sorry. But deep down, your heart still remembers the nights you couldn't sleep, the days you questioned your worth, and the way they made you feel small when all you ever did was love them. Now they're standing in front of you, hurt, lost, maybe even scared. Would you help them? Would you open your heart again? Or would you finally walk away and choose yourself? It's not as easy as it sounds, because sometimes love doesn't just disappear, even after all the damage. And sometimes we want to believe that maybe, just maybe, they're telling the truth. But here's the real question. Do narcissists really feel regret? Do they care about the pain they caused? Or are they only back because they need something from you? Today we're going deep into this emotional storm, and you'll hear the truth about what narcissists feel in private after they've hurt someone like you. And trust me, it's not what they show on the outside. You need to hear this, not just to understand them, but to understand what you deserve. So stay with me till the end. If this story feels familiar, if it touches your heart, join our community. Comment below, share your experience, and let someone else know they're not the only one. Hit like, subscribe, and stay close because the truth we uncover today could change everything. Ready to find out what really happens behind that cold smile? Let's begin. What would you do if the same person who hurt you the most came back, this time asking for your help, your kindness, your time, maybe even your love again? Imagine standing face to face with the person who once made you feel worthless, someone who said they loved you but slowly tore your spirit apart. The same one who made you question your worth, made you feel guilty for things you didn't do, and left you with invisible bruises no one else could see. Now they're the ones standing in front of you, looking lost, broken, and maybe even sorry. They say they've changed. They say they were wrong. They say they miss you, need you, can't live without you. But deep inside, a little voice whispers, what if this is just another trick? Your heart remembers how they laughed when you cried, how they blamed you when you tried, how they shut down your feelings like they didn't matter. But another part of you still wants to believe, because that's what love does. It holds on, even when it shouldn't. You wonder, is this real? Do they actually regret what they did? Or is this just another move in their game? This is the trap many people fall into after dealing with a narcissist. Because narcissists are masters of pretending. They know how to act sorry. They know how to say just enough to pull you back in. But what do they really feel when no one's around? What goes on in their mind after they've hurt someone who truly cared about them? Do they feel guilt, shame, remorse, or do they feel nothing at all? That's the truth we're about to uncover in today's story. You'll find out what happens behind the mask when the crowd is gone, the lights are off, and they're alone with their own thoughts. Do narcissists lose sleep over the pain they cause? Or are they already planning their next move? Stay with me till the end, because this isn't just about understanding them. It's about protecting yourself, about learning to trust your gut and see past the lies, about healing your heart and not falling into the same trap twice. If this sounds like your story, or someone you love has gone through something like this, know that you're not alone. So many people suffer in silence thinking no one will believe them, thinking it's their fault. But it's not. You were kind. You were loving. You gave your best. And it was taken for granted. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you human and strong. Because even now you're searching for answers, for truth, for healing. And that takes courage. So stay with me till the end of this video, this journey. Join our community where people like you share their stories, their strength, and their support. Drop a comment, tell us what you've been through, or just say, I'm here. Hit like if this speaks to your heart. Subscribe if you want more truth like this. And never forget, your feelings matter, your healing matters, and your story deserves to be heard. Let's begin. He lied, I stayed. He smiled, I shattered. The same cycle, over and over. He took, I gave. He pushed, I begged. He promised, I believed. And every time I kept waiting for things to change. But nothing ever changed, nothing. I thought I was strong. I thought I could handle it. I thought love was supposed to hurt sometimes. But I was wrong. You know the feeling, don't you? When someone tells you everything you need to hear, but their actions scream something else. It's not love, it's control. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was holding on, fighting for us. But every time, my heart shattered more. Until I said no. Just one word, and everything stopped. Everything changed. He stared. No anger, no tears, just silence. For a moment, I thought maybe he understood. Maybe he finally saw. But then, the game began again. The silence stretched. The blame came. The accusations, the manipulation. He twisted everything. I was crazy. I was overreacting. He made me question myself again. But I wasn't crazy. I wasn't overreacting. I was just done. Done with the lies. Done with the manipulation, done with the pain. But what about him? What happens after the silence? What happens when he's alone? Does he feel the weight of everything he's done? Does he miss me? Does he regret it? Or is he already moving on? Does he even care? Does it hit him like it hit me? Does he see the damage, the destruction he caused? Does he wonder what he lost? Or is it just another game, another victory in his mind? But what if he does feel something? What if there's a moment when the mask cracks, a moment when he sees the truth? Or does he just keep playing, keep pretending? I couldn't stay for that. I couldn't wait for him to change. I couldn't wait for him to feel sorry. I had to go. I had to choose myself. I had to break free from the cycle. And you can too. You can rise above. You can walk away. Because the truth is, they don't change. They don't feel the way we do. They don't care the way we do. And that's why, in the end, we have to choose ourselves. We have to protect our hearts. So what happens next? What happens when you finally stop waiting? When you stop questioning if they care, if they'll change? When you choose you, what happens then? Stay with me. We're going to uncover the truth about what narcissists feel in those silent moments after they've hurt you. We're going to find out what goes on in their minds when the lights are off and no one's around. And you'll see why you deserve better. You deserve peace. You deserve to heal. You deserve to walk away. The room was quiet, but my heart was screaming. The walls felt like they were closing in, the air thick with the weight of everything unspoken. I could feel the cold on my skin, not from the temperature, but from the distance between us. His eyes, once warm and loving, were now like ice, cold, calculating, and empty. Every word he spoke cut through the silence like a knife. But it wasn't the words that hurt. It was the way they were said. Flat, emotionless. The soft hum of the refrigerator in the background was the only sound, a dull reminder of how nothing was the same anymore. I could almost hear the beating of my own heart, fast, frantic, as if trying to remind me to breathe, to remember that I had a choice. But it didn't matter. I stayed. I listened. I tried to understand. I told myself this time would be different, that maybe, just maybe, he was sorry. But every time he smiled, it felt like a lie. Every apology he gave was like a mask slipping off to reveal the person I had come to fear. I watched the flicker of anger in his eyes just for a second before he pulled it back, only to replace it with the same cold indifference. And it stung. The silence between us grew heavier. His gaze never left mine, but I could feel him slipping further away, like a shadow, fading as the light dimmed. I waited for him to feel something, to show some hint of regret, but all I saw was the same manipulation, the same control. The room felt smaller now, like we were both trapped in it together, two people lost in their own version of reality. And I couldn't escape, not yet. Every minute felt like an eternity, like I was waiting for something that would never come. A change, a spark, a glimpse of the person I once loved, but it never came. Instead, I felt the weight of the silence crush me, making it harder to breathe, harder to think clearly. And then, without warning, I felt it. A shift. It wasn't a big moment, but it was enough. A single word, no, slipped out of my mouth. It didn't scream, it didn't shout, it was calm, but it was final. And that's when everything changed. The air between us cracked. I saw something flicker in his eyes. Was it fear? Was it anger? Or was it just the realization that he couldn't control me anymore? The silence stretched out again, this time with a different feeling, heavier, more suffocating. He stayed still, like a predator waiting for its prey to make the next move. But this time, I wasn't going to move. I wasn't going to apologize. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to fall for the trap anymore. I knew what came next. The blame, the gaslighting, the twisting of everything I said. And in that moment, I realized something. He would never change. No apology was enough. No gesture would make up for the hurt he caused. And I knew I had to choose myself. I had to walk away. I had to break free. But even as I made that decision, I wondered, what would he feel now? What happens in those moments when they're left alone with their actions? Do they feel regret? Or does it just fade like everything else? Today we're going to dive deep into that moment, the silence after the storm. We're going to uncover what happens in the mind of a narcissist when they're no longer in control. Stay with me till the end, because the truth might be harder to hear than you think. But it's something you need to know, and you're not alone in this journey. If you've been hurt, if you've been manipulated, if you're ready to heal, drop a comment below. Share your story and let's support each other. Like, subscribe and stick around, because today we uncover the truth about what narcissists feel when they're alone, and it's going to change the way you see everything. He made me feel special until he made me feel invisible. At first, it was like a dream. He swept me off my feet, said all the right things, made me feel like I was the only one in the world who mattered. His words were sweet, his attention overwhelming, and I thought, finally, someone who sees me. For a moment, I believed I was loved in the way I had always dreamed about. But that was before I realized the truth. The truth was he didn't really love me. He loved the idea of me, the version he created in his mind, the person he could mold into whatever suited him. The more I gave, the more he took. The more I loved, the more he demanded. And when I started to notice the cracks, when I started to ask questions, when I started to wonder if he actually cared for me, he pulled away. He'd give me just enough to keep me hooked, just enough love, just enough attention. And when I asked for more, when I needed more, he'd pull back again, like a puppet master holding the strings. It was confusing, it was maddening, but it was also addictive. I kept waiting, hoping for the person he had shown me in the beginning to come back. I kept thinking, maybe this time will be different, but it never was. Slowly, my world became smaller, quieter. I started to lose myself. I started to question if I was good enough. The compliments faded, replaced by criticism and coldness. The affection turned into silence. The person who once made me feel like the center of his universe now acted as if I didn't even exist. But the hardest part? It wasn't the silence. It wasn't the empty promises. It was the realization that, deep down, I had always been invisible to him. He didn't really see me. He only saw what I could give him. And the moment I stopped giving, the moment I stopped catering to his needs, I ceased to exist in his world. It was like I was a shadow, slipping further away with every day that passed. And then came the guilt, the feeling that maybe it was my fault, that maybe I was the one who pushed him away, that maybe I wasn't doing enough. He made me believe that. He made me believe that I was the problem, that I wasn't worthy of his love. The deeper I sank into his world, the more I forgot who I was. I became someone who constantly doubted myself, second-guessed my worth, and lived in fear of his disapproval. But the truth was, I had never been the problem. I was never the issue. It wasn't me who changed. It was him. The narcissist I loved didn't want me to be myself. He wanted to control me, to make me feel small. And the moment I realized that, the moment I understood that I had been living in his world, not my own, everything shifted. But even then, the hardest part was still yet to come. Walking away was the hardest thing I had ever done. To finally say no to the love I thought I needed, to step away from the man I thought I could save, it was like stepping into a void. But I did it. I chose myself. And that was the moment I started to heal. So what happens after they leave? After the narcissist walks away, what are they really feeling? Do they ever look back? Do they ever wonder what they lost? You've been there, haven't you? When everything looks fine on the outside, but it feels all wrong on the inside. You can't quite put your finger on it, but something is off. You keep telling yourself, it's nothing. It'll pass. I'm just overthinking. But deep down, you know, it's not nothing. It's him. It's the way he speaks, the way he makes you feel like you're the center of his world one moment, then like you don't even exist the next. You start to wonder if it's you. Maybe you're too sensitive. Maybe you're reading too much into things. But then something happens. He says something hurtful, something small but sharp, and it stings. And you're left standing there, trying to convince yourself that it wasn't that bad, that you're just imagining it. You've been there, haven't you? You've been in that place where love feels like a game, where every word, every glance, every smile is a weapon in a battle you didn't even sign up for. And the worst part, you don't even realize you're losing until it's too late. You start giving more and more of yourself, your time, your energy, your love, and he takes it, always asking for more, but never really giving anything back. And you feel drained, empty, and yet you keep going. You keep trying. You tell yourself, this is just a rough patch. We'll get through it. He'll change. But deep down, you know the truth. You know that something isn't right, but you don't know what to do about it. You're stuck. You've been there, haven't you? When you start to question your own worth, your own sanity, when his words start to echo in your head, you're too much, you're crazy, you're overreacting, and you start to believe him. You start to wonder if maybe he's right. Maybe you are crazy. Maybe you are too much. But let me stop you right there. You're not crazy. You're not too much. And you're not the problem. He is. The narcissist in your life has been playing you, controlling you, manipulating you, making you question everything you know about yourself. But here's the thing. You can get out of this. You don't have to keep living in this toxic cycle. You don't have to keep trying to fix something that's broken beyond repair. And you don't have to keep wondering if he'll change. Because, spoiler alert, he won't. The moment you realize this, the moment you stop blaming yourself and start seeing things for what they really are, you'll feel a weight lift off your shoulders. You'll feel the power you've been giving away slowly start to return to you. You'll start taking back control. And trust me, that's when things will change. But here's the hardest part. You've got to make that decision. You've got to choose yourself. You've got to walk away, even when it feels impossible. But you're not alone. I've been there. I've walked that path. And now I'm here to tell you that it gets better. You will heal. You will rebuild. You will become stronger than you ever thought possible. So stay with me. Let's dive into this journey together. Let's uncover what happens behind the narcissist's mask. What happens when they finally face the truth? You've probably been in this situation before, haven't you? Feeling like you're trapped in a cycle, stuck in a relationship that seems perfect on the surface, but deep down, you know something's wrong. It's that nagging feeling, the one you try to ignore because you don't want to face it. You keep telling yourself, it'll get better. He'll change. He loves me. But over time, the cracks start showing. You start feeling like you're losing yourself, your peace, your joy. And that's when you realize something that hits hard. You're stuck. You're trapped in a relationship with a narcissist. But don't worry, because today, I'm going to share with you a powerful countdown of 7 signs you were emotionally trapped by a narcissist and didn't even know it. These are the red flags you might have missed, the subtle manipulations you might have ignored. So stay with me till the end, because you'll want to hear all of them. Let's start with number 7. Sign 7, the love bombing phase. This is where it all begins. The phase where you feel like the luckiest person in the world. At first, he overwhelms you with love and attention, making you feel special, wanted, and adored. He says all the right things. He buys you gifts, plans romantic dates, and makes you feel like you're the center of his universe. But this phase isn't real love. It's manipulation. Narcissists use this phase to hook you in, to make you feel so special that you become addicted to their affection. But as soon as you're hooked, things start changing. Sign 6, the silent treatment. If you've ever experienced this, you know exactly how painful it can be. One moment, you're talking and laughing, and the next, he's giving you the cold shoulder, ignoring your messages, not responding to your calls, and leaving you wondering what you did wrong. It's emotionally exhausting, and over time, it makes you feel like you're walking on eggshells, always trying to figure out how to fix things. The worst part is that you begin to doubt yourself. You start asking, did I say something wrong? Was I too much? But in reality, this is just another tactic he uses to control you. Sign 5, gaslighting. This one might be the most damaging because it messes with your sense of reality. Gaslighting is when he makes you question your own thoughts, memories, and perceptions. He'll deny things that you know are true, twist your words, and make you feel like you're losing your mind. You're just being paranoid, he might say, or that never happened. Over time, you begin to doubt yourself and even wonder if he's right. But here's the truth. You're not crazy. You're just being manipulated. Sign 4, the cycle of praise and criticism. 1 minute, he's telling you how amazing you are, how lucky he is to have you, and how perfect you are. The next minute, he's tearing you down, criticizing your appearance, your intelligence, your choices. This emotional roller coaster leaves you confused and constantly second-guessing yourself. You try to do everything right to make him happy, but nothing is ever good enough. This cycle keeps you hooked, always striving for his approval, but never fully receiving it. Sign 3, you start losing yourself. Over time, you start to forget who you were before the relationship. You stop doing the things that make you happy, the things that used to define you. Your world starts revolving around him, his needs, his wants, his moods. You sacrifice your own happiness for his, believing that if you just give more of yourself, things will improve. But in reality, you're losing yourself bit by bit, becoming a shadow of who you once were. Sign 2, you feel like you can't do anything right. No matter how hard you try, no matter what you do, it never seems to be enough. He constantly finds fault with everything you say and do. You begin to feel like you're always walking a fine line, trying not to upset him, trying to avoid his criticism. But you're always wrong in his eyes, and that's because he needs you to feel small, weak, and dependent on him. Sign 1, you can't imagine life without him. This is the hardest one to admit, but it's the truth. Even when you know deep down that the relationship is toxic, that you're being emotionally drained and manipulated, you can't imagine life without him. The thought of leaving feels impossible. He's made you feel like you need him, like your life will be empty without him. This is the most powerful way a narcissist controls you, by making you believe you can't survive without them. But I'm here to tell you that you can. You're stronger than you think. You're not stuck. You don't have to live in fear, in doubt, in confusion. You can break free from this cycle, and I promise you, on the other side of this pain is your peace, your strength, your true self. So take a deep breath. You've made it this far. You're ready for the next step. You're crazy, he said, and I almost believed him. There I was, standing in front of him, my heart racing, my mind spinning, and his words slicing through the air like a knife. His face was calm, almost amused, like he'd just told me the weather was nice. But those words, they felt like an accusation, a punch in the gut. I could feel my knees weaken, my confidence slipping, as his eyes locked onto mine. You're crazy for thinking that. You're imagining things. You always do this. I wanted to argue, to scream that I wasn't imagining anything, that I wasn't crazy. But instead, I stood there, silent, questioning everything I had just felt, everything I had seen. Was I crazy? Was I really overreacting? He made me doubt myself in a way I couldn't explain, and that's when it hit me. This wasn't the first time he'd done this, and it wouldn't be the last. Over time, it became so natural. His words, the way he twisted everything, made me feel like I was losing my mind. But in that moment, standing there, hearing him dismiss my feelings yet again, I realized something I had been denying for so long. I was living in a cycle created by him, a cycle where every emotion I had was questioned, every thought I had was twisted, and I was always the one at fault. He had me trapped, and I didn't even realize it. Have you ever felt that way? Like no matter what you do, no matter how much you give, it's never enough? Have you ever stood in front of someone you loved, someone you thought would never hurt you, and felt yourself shrink under their gaze? It's like you're a puppet on strings, constantly pulled in different directions, never knowing which way is up. He'd make me feel special one moment, like I was the only person in the world who mattered, and the next, I'd be questioning my own sanity, my own worth. It was like living in two different realities at once, one where everything was perfect, and the other where I was constantly on edge, wondering when the next blow would come. Every time I stood up for myself, I was shot down. Every time I questioned something that didn't feel right, I was made to feel small. "You're overthinking it," he'd say. "You're just being dramatic." And I would start to doubt myself. Maybe I was being too sensitive. Maybe I was crazy. But I wasn't crazy. I was in a relationship with a narcissist, and that's when everything started to fall into place. The manipulations, the constant gaslighting, the emotional roller coaster I was stuck on. It wasn't just bad luck. It wasn't just a rough patch. I was being manipulated, controlled, and slowly suffocated by his need to be in control. You've probably been there too, haven't you? That moment when you realize the person you thought you could trust, the person you thought would love you for who you are, is actually the one breaking you down. It's like a wake-up call. It's sudden, sharp, and you can't ignore it any longer. You start to see the pattern, the way they make you feel like you're crazy, the way they twist your words and your emotions, the way they make you feel guilty for things you didn't do, and make you question things you shouldn't even have to question. And you wonder, how did I get here? How did I lose myself in this relationship? But here's the thing. You're not crazy, and you're not alone. Narcissists have a way of making you doubt your reality, but the truth is, they thrive on this confusion. They need you to be unsure of yourself, to feel dependent on their approval. That's how they keep you under their control. But I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to stay in a relationship where you're constantly questioning your worth. You don't have to keep believing that it's your fault, because you deserve more. You deserve to feel seen, heard, and loved for who you truly are, not for what they need you to be. So let's talk about how to break free from this cycle. Let's talk about how to reclaim your life, your confidence, and your peace. Because it's time to stop letting them control your reality. It's time to start living on your terms. You're not crazy, you're not alone, and it's time to take back your power. Stay with me until the end, because I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Together, we'll break the cycle. I didn't know it then, but that was the last time I'd ever see her smile. It was a casual afternoon, one that seemed just like any other. She laughed, that bright, carefree sound I had grown so accustomed to, as we joked about something trivial. Little did I know, beneath that smile was a darkness I hadn't even begun to understand. The moment passed and everything seemed fine. But in the back of my mind, a seed was planted, one that would grow into something far more destructive than I could have imagined. If only I had known. If only I had seen the signs sooner. You see, we often think we're in control. We think we know the people around us, that we understand their moods, their needs, their feelings. But with a narcissist, everything is a lie. The truth is hidden beneath layers of charm, manipulation, and control. At first, it feels like a dream. They make you feel special, like you're the only one who matters. They pour affection into you, convincing you that you're the center of their universe. But that feeling doesn't last. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the smiles fade. The compliments become fewer, replaced by criticism. You start noticing little things, how they twist your words, how they make you feel like everything is your fault, how they never quite give back as much as they take. But even then, you can't shake the feeling that something is off. You convince yourself it's just a phase, just a bad day. What you don't realize is that this is the beginning of the end, the beginning of a journey that will leave you questioning everything you know about love, trust, and your own sanity. What happened next would change everything. I didn't see it coming, but the signs were there. Looking back now, I can trace each moment, each subtle shift in behavior that should have warned me. But at the time, I couldn't make sense of it. Every time I tried to confront him about how I felt, I was met with denial, gaslighting, and emotional manipulation. It's a game they play, and I was their pawn. It was in those moments that I began to feel trapped. I began to wonder if I was the problem. Maybe I was just being dramatic. Maybe I was crazy. But I wasn't. The reality was far more sinister. Narcissists feed off your doubts, your insecurities. They prey on your fear of losing them, your fear of being alone, and they use that fear to keep you in their grasp, twisting your emotions until you're unsure of what's real and what's not. What I didn't know at the time was that I was being manipulated, controlled, and emotionally drained. Every small argument, every moment of silence, every word of criticism was designed to break me down. They slowly strip away your confidence, your self-worth, until you're left with nothing but a shadow of who you used to be. And the worst part? You don't even realize it until it's too late. But there was one moment, one realization, that would change everything for me. I would come to understand that nothing was as it seemed, that I was never truly loved, but used. And that moment would be the last time I would ever let myself be controlled. It wasn't easy to get to that point. It took time, it took tears, it took courage. But in the end, I learned the hard way. Narcissists don't change. They can't. They're incapable of love, incapable of empathy, and they only exist to feed their own egos. You may not realize it now, but if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, this is your reality. You may feel trapped, confused, and unsure of how to get out. But you don't have to stay there. You don't have to keep doubting yourself, questioning your worth, or feeling like you're walking on eggshells. You can break free. And today, I'm going to show you how. I'm going to reveal the subtle signs you missed, the red flags that warned you but you didn't see. And together, we'll walk through how to reclaim your life, your strength, and your peace. Because the moment you realize what's happening, that's the moment everything changes. Stay with me until the end. You'll want to hear what happens next. You'll want to know the truth that you've been missing. Because once you see it, once you understand it, you'll never be the same again. You're just being paranoid, he said, his voice calm, almost comforting, as if to assure me that everything was fine. But I felt it. Deep down, I knew something was wrong. I had no proof, just an overwhelming sense of unease, a feeling I couldn't shake. You're overreacting, he added, this time with a slight smirk, and I believed him. I convinced myself that I was just imagining things. I questioned my own instincts. How could I doubt someone who was supposed to love me? How could I think that the person I trusted the most in the world was capable of hurting me? I ignored the little moments, the sharp comments, the subtle manipulations, the way my confidence seemed to fade each time I interacted with him. I tried to brush them off, tell myself I was being dramatic, but deep down I was becoming smaller, less sure of myself, more dependent on his approval. His validation became the air. I breathed. And then came the gaslighting, the moments when I'd confront him about something that didn't feel right, only to be told I was the problem. "You're crazy," he'd say. "That never happened." Each time it was like a punch to my stomach, making me question my own reality. Little by little, I began to doubt everything. My thoughts, my memories, even my worth. But here's where the twist comes in. As much as I tried to keep myself in check, to play by his rules, something inside me was waking up. The more he tried to break me, the more I realized I was stronger than I ever knew. The more he made me feel like I was nothing, the more I began to see my own value. He thought he was winning. He thought he could make me dependent, make me believe I couldn't live without him. But what he didn't realize was that each time he pushed me, each time he tried to tear me down, he was building something else within me, a version of me that would never bow down again, a version of me that would never shrink to fit into his world of control. He held me with love, right after breaking me with words. That moment still echoes in my mind, a perfect storm of contrasting emotions that no one should ever have to feel. I can still feel his arms around me, tight and reassuring, as if nothing had ever happened. But right before that, those same arms were the ones that had pushed me away, the ones that had slammed me with insults so cold, so sharp. They left marks deeper than I could ever explain. In that moment, the love felt suffocating and the hurt felt unbearable. It's strange, isn't it? To experience both extremes from the same person, in the same breath. To feel both safe and terrified, loved and rejected, all at once. He looked at me with eyes full of affection, but his words had shattered my self-worth into 1,000 pieces. "You're lucky to have me," he'd said earlier that day, each syllable dripping with condescension. "Nobody else would put up with you." At the time, I tried to brush it off, convincing myself that maybe I had misunderstood him. But as the days wore on, the cracks in my heart started to widen, filling with doubt. Could it be true? Was I really that difficult to love? And then, just when I thought I couldn't take another moment of emotional torment, he would pull me close again. "I'm sorry," he'd whisper, the tenderness in his voice making me melt, making me want to believe that everything would be okay. But the truth was, it wasn't okay. It was a cycle, a toxic one, where love and pain were inextricably linked, where every word of praise was followed by a cutting remark, and every gesture of kindness was overshadowed by emotional manipulation. I found myself in the middle of it, caught in a battle between the person I wanted to believe he was and the person he was slowly showing me he really was. It was as if my mind and my heart were at war, one telling me to stay, the other urging me to run. He would tell me that I was the one overreacting, the one making things harder than they needed to be. "You take everything too seriously," he'd say, as though it was my fault for wanting respect, for wanting honesty. But in the quiet of the night, when it was just me and my thoughts, I knew deep down that something was wrong. I knew that being with him, living in this constant push and pull of love and manipulation, was breaking me. The contradiction of it all, the sweetness of his touch after the cruelty of his words, left me confused, unsure of what was real anymore. Was the love real, or was it just another form of control? And yet I stayed. I stayed because when you're caught in a cycle of emotional abuse, it's not always easy to see the truth. The love feels real even when the actions don't match the words, and sometimes the moments of kindness, those fleeting seconds where they pull you close, where they make you feel like you matter, are enough to make you forget about everything else. But the reality is, I was losing myself. I couldn't see it then, but I was becoming someone I didn't recognize. Someone small and fragile, someone who lived in constant fear of displeasing him. I was scared to speak my mind, to stand up for myself, to even express my own needs. I had learned to wait for his approval, to let his affection be the measure of my worth. And the longer I stayed, the more I felt like I was suffocating, trapped in a relationship that promised love, but delivered pain. But then one day, it clicked. I realized that I had been living for his validation, at the cost of my own happiness. I realized that his love wasn't love at all. It was control. That the sweetness I felt in his arms after he broke me with his words was just another way of keeping me hooked, of keeping me in line. It wasn't love, it was manipulation. And once I saw it for what it was, once I understood that I didn't have to keep choosing between love and pain, the fog began to lift. You might feel broken right now, but trust me, you're just being reshaped. The person who tried to tear you down never realized that they were only building a stronger version of you. Every insult, every manipulation, every moment of doubt, they were not your weaknesses. They were the fire that forged your resilience. It's easy to feel lost when you're caught in their web of control, to think that love is supposed to hurt. But remember this, love is not supposed to make you question your worth. It's not supposed to drown you in confusion. True love lifts you up, supports you, and makes you feel safe. You deserve a love that respects you, a love that celebrates who you are, not a love that dims your light. So don't let the pain be the final chapter of your story. Let it be the lesson that teaches you how to walk away stronger, wiser, and more self-assured than ever before. You are not defined by the hurt you've endured. You are defined by the strength it took to rise above it. And the best part? You're only getting started. The person who broke you, they didn't see the greatness within you, but now you do. And that is the power that no one can ever take away. Sometimes the person who hurt you the most taught you how to never need them again. You've probably heard this before, but now you can truly understand it. The moments you felt broken, alone, and lost were not signs of your weakness. They were the raw materials from which your strength was forged. It's hard to see it when you're in the middle of it. The constant emotional turmoil, the doubt, the gaslighting that made you second-guess yourself at every turn, it all felt like a storm you couldn't escape. The person who promised you love and security, only to tear you down with words and actions, made you feel like you were never enough. But here's the truth that will eventually become clear. You were always enough. They tried to make you feel small, didn't they? They made you believe that you needed them, that without them, you wouldn't survive. They used your insecurities to control you, manipulating your emotions so that you felt like you were walking on eggshells around them. But here's what they never realized. Every time they pushed you, every time they broke you, They were creating the perfect opportunity for you to rise. They were too focused on keeping you in their grasp to see the strength growing inside of you. The truth is, you were never as broken as they made you feel. You were just learning what it felt like to break free. The love they gave you wasn't really love at all. It was manipulation. It was control. And when you finally walked away, you weren't just leaving them behind. You were leaving behind the version of yourself that believed you were unworthy of anything better. The version of yourself that let someone else define your value. And with that single decision, you took back your power. It's hard to walk away. It's hard to let go of something that, at one point, made you feel special, made you feel like you mattered. But in the end, you realized that the love you thought you needed was never going to be enough because it was built on a foundation of lies. The love you need isn't the kind that breaks you down. It's the kind that helps you grow. The kind that encourages you to be your true self, flaws and all, and loves you because of them, not in spite of them. What you've learned through this experience is priceless. It's hard to put a price on self-worth, on realizing that you have everything you need within yourself to be strong, happy, and whole. No one can take that from you, not even the person who made you doubt your own worth. They may have torn you apart, but in the process, they unknowingly gave you the gift of self-reflection, self-discovery, and ultimately, self-love. They showed you what you don't need in your life, and that's just as valuable as knowing what you do need. I know it's not easy to see the beauty in the struggle, but think about it. Every tear you shed, every sleepless night spent wondering if you were ever good enough, every moment of confusion and doubt, they were building blocks for the strongest version of you. You were learning how to trust yourself again. You were learning how to break free from toxic patterns. You were learning that your worth was never dependent on anyone else's opinion. And that, my friend, is something no one can ever take from you. Right now, it may feel like you've lost something, but in reality, you've gained everything you need to move forward. The person who hurt you didn't just take away your happiness, they gave you the tools to rebuild it, stronger and more resilient than before. And trust me, the strength you've gained will carry you through. You'll never let anyone treat you that way again, because now you know your worth. You'll walk through life with the confidence that you are enough, with or without anyone else.